What's up, everybody, and welcome in to another edition of the Sitdown. As always, if you enjoy this video, please make sure you hit that like button and let me know what you think of tonight's very interesting discussion in the comments section below. If you're watching us live currently on YouTube, welcome in. I hope you enjoy the show. Make sure you let me know what you think of the content in the live chat to the right of the show. If you're new around here, you just haven't done it yet, or you're living under a rock and seeing this video for the first time, I don't know what you're waiting for. Hit that subscribe button below now so you never miss another sit-down video. What's up, everybody, and welcome in. It is Wednesday night. It is June 12th, and we are here live for a breaking news video. Big day in the world of Mafia YouTube. Whenever there is something big that goes on, it's important that we react to it. This genre is always very interesting. Regardless of where we sit on it, it's always very interesting. And nearly a year ago, Joey Molino came onto this platform, and it was big news then. Today, John Gotti Jr. made his presence felt, maybe just for one show, on an interview. It was nearly 2 hours long. I watched it. I know a lot of you did as well. And I've got some real interest in this. I want to talk a little bit about what was said in it. John Jr., regardless of how you feel about him, he's an interesting character. He definitely speaks like he's some sort of philosopher or something, which I find kind of interesting. I think he's obviously learned a lot about his life and what he doesn't want out of it. That said, the delusion with this guy and this family is insane. I'm going to talk about all that and more. Remember, this is happening in real time. This is the mob genre, and we will talk about it. There's a notion that if you use certain names, you're a bad guy. Yeah, this is the Mafia genre. The name Gotti is pretty important in it. And look, when you enter this world, we're going to talk about it. So also the glazing going on by some people is naturally as funny as usual. We're also going to have Gene Borello jump on for a couple of minutes. Gene will join us at around 8:30. We're going to get his thoughts on this. Gene had a big interview recently with Michael Franzese. Shout out to Gene. He got 80,000 views in one day. Pretty damn good. So that's that. A lot going on. We'll talk about it. I have all sorts of things I want to get into with this whole thing. So if you're out there, sit back, relax. Let's have some fun. Thanks to everybody for watching. I see Mustache Pete's in here. Shout out to my pal Mustache Pete. A lot of folks in here, as always, enjoying the show. Please check out my latest video. It is on the current state of the mob. You know, it's funny. I have been trying something recently. I had another channel, as many of you guys know. When my channel got demonetized for 3 months, I went out and built another channel. I had about 10,000 subs on it, and I put up about maybe 10 videos. That channel is no longer in my possession, so I had to pull all the videos down. And I've been trying recently about reposting them, and I'm starting to realize that I think YouTube has some sort of AI type thing that recognizes if you've posted a video before, you cannot repost the same video. I've noticed I've done that twice, maybe 3 times, and the views have plummeted on them. Like I'm talking about it's almost like something doesn't shade in the algorithm, which I think is really interesting about YouTube, which I'm starting to find out and understand. If you'd like to support us further, please hit that super chat icon. It's in the bottom of the chat box, a little $sign. You can also send me a Cash App as well, which I dropped in the chat. Anything you donate to the channel is always appreciated. Carmine S says fake 302s ? Yes, that was uttered on today's podcast, which we're going to get into. All right, let me get into what we saw today. And I'll get to some of your comments as we go, but I have a list of things here, and I want to talk more about some of this stuff. First thing out of the gate, Junior still dresses like a mobster. It's pretty interesting. Anytime I see this guy, he's wearing like a leather jacket or a tracksuit. I noticed today he had the Gotti tracksuit on, which I find it super interesting. He is very much about making it known who he is, right? I saw him at the court case that his family had for his daughter and wife. He was wearing a Gotti, like Letterman's jacket. Today, he's wearing the Gotti brand. And I actually didn't know that that is a brand that they have. I didn't know that. Tell me you don't think highly of yourself without telling me you think highly of yourself. But hey, I guess it's no different than then again, though, I don't know that I'd ever create a tracksuit with my last name on it, you know. But hey, if that's your business, I guess there's nothing wrong with that. There's one thing that I'll say about John Gotti Jr. And regardless of whether I agree with what he says or not, he is a down-to-earth guy. It seems like he's definitely gotten more with the times. I remember years ago, he was like a caveman. He's talking about, I don't let my wife on the phone with a guy. He's talking about rappers and Kush and all sorts of stuff. And he seems like he's started to get with the program a little bit. That said, the first 15 minutes of this interview are a complete snooze, like at the highest level. I mean, they're talking about some castle in Long Island, complete bore. It's a complete bore. 15 minutes, fast forward. Ain't worth it. You're wasting your time. It's boring as all hell. They talk about, I think the one interesting thing they talked about was John Gotti loved veal cutlet on like a semolina roll, which who doesn't like that? They're talking about beef Wellington. I don't know, whatever. Let's get into actually what Junior said that was interesting. He said at one point he dreams of food, not women, which I think some of us can relate to, right? I mean, I don't always think about women, and if I'm not thinking about women, I'm thinking about food. So that we can agree on, Junior. All right, so he starts with the mob talk, discussing that he's the most persecuted organized crime member in history. In history. Now, as we've talked about on this channel, okay, John Jr. didn't face 5 indictments. He faced mistrials, and they re-indicted him, okay? Let's stop pretending like they just hit him with 5 fresh cases and wouldn't stop doing it. There were mistrials. They restarted, and they tried him again. They were hopelessly deadlocked, as they said. They went back, did it again. It counted as 2. And we talked about this the other night, and I'm still trying to understand it because I think it could be one of the weirdest things Junior said. He claims that there were 101 cooperating witnesses, which of those, the government forgave 110 murders. And I'm trying to understand, let's think about some of the people that cooperated against John Jr. that we know about. Mikey Scars, he didn't kill anybody. John Alite, let's just say on a good day, let's say John Gotti Jr. or let's say John Alite had 1 or 2 bodies. Let's just say that. Okay, fair. Frank Fapiano, he may have 1 or 2. Dominic Sicali, 1 or 2. Where are the 110? Did I forget that the whole DeMeo crew flipped, came back from the dead, and actually cooperated against John Jr.? Did Tommy Patera decide to do that? I'm trying to figure out this all. Did Joe Watts cooperate against John Jr.? Did I forget about that? Did John Carneglia or Charlie? I mean, I'm starting to try to understand this because, like, even the highest people, like, let's just say 101 cooperating witnesses cooperated. That would mean that each of them killed at least 1 person, and there's still 9 murders not accounted for, which we know that's not true, right? So I'm trying to understand, like, where this comes from. You follow? Because I don't follow. I mean, the only people that I know that whacked that many people were probably there's probably 5 in the history of the mob, right? As far as we know, Sonny Franzese didn't cooperate against anybody. I'm trying to think of others. The Gemini twins, they didn't. I'm trying to understand where this is all coming from. Look, here's what I will say about John Jr. Definitely persecuted, but his last name was Gotti, and he was in the mafia. This is a group of people that I've noticed will not take responsibility for anything they do. Nothing. Even if they're boxing on TV or they're making dinner for somebody and, the kitchen catching on fire. It's never their fault. It's never John Jr.'s fault. He was a good little boy, and they persecuted him. And I heard another content creator say this today, and I talked to him on the phone about it, and he mentioned it. One of the things about John Jr. that I always find interesting is he still to this day, he made a comment at one point that the government made up the name the Colombo crime family. He wouldn't say that the Colombo crime family was a mafia entity. He said that the Colombo crime family was named by the government. That's what he said. He still doesn't want to take responsibility that he was ever in the mob and did anything bad. It was all a unfair prosecution against him, and the only reason it happened is because he had the last name Gotti. Let's ask ourselves, do we actually think John Jr. never committed a crime? ever connected to the mafia. It's all like they're just picking on him. He's a good little boy and didn't do anything wrong. And I don't understand this thought process. Everything he does, he never takes responsibility for anything. He also at one point said that the government's always out to get the Gottis, which we know. We've heard him say that time and time again. But again, these are not law-abiding people. These are some of the worst, depraved, organized crime people we've ever seen in America. These are people that ruled the biggest crime family in the country. This is a guy whose father whacked the biggest boss in the country at the time to take the top spot. These aren't like altar boys, unfairly prosecuted by a corrupt government. I'm not going to tell you that this government is not corrupt. But when it comes to the name Gotti, I don't know that anyone's shedding a tear for you, Junior, or your dad. Listen, I've said it before. John Gotti Sr. is a regal guy, right? Interesting guy. You know, obviously took what he wanted and went with it. But let me ask you, did you ever hear John Sr. not say who he was? He knew who he was to the end. And John Gotti Jr. did too. But he couldn't handle it, so he did what he had to do. I feel bad for John Jr. He should have never entered the life. He wasn't cut out for it, and he knows that. But let's ask ourselves, do we actually think, seriously, that he didn't, we heard him sit down at a diner and order two people to rough up Curtis Lewa. The only problem is the idiots that did it shot him instead by accident. That was one of the crimes he faced. And, you know, we hear that, well, nobody believed him, What, did they pick you off the street and decide to just indict you for it? You seem to be really unlucky for a guy that's never been involved in anything. Yet these are the same people that still to this day profit off that name. Either you don't want to be involved with it or you do. Pick your poison. You can't have both. At one point, he called Vinny Basciano, quote, a wonderful guy. A wonderful guy. Interesting. I'm not sure that I've ever heard those things said about Vinny Basciano. That said, interesting nonetheless. He did talk a lot about rats, but weirdly enough, didn't talk about his own paperwork. He's talking about pulling people's paperwork in prison, but failed to identify his own paperwork. And I know they don't want to talk about it, but it's the elephant in the room. And what did we hear? We're starting to hear the seeds of doubt set in. Oh, the government actually, yeah, they make fake paperwork up. They brought up some story that Benny Alloy was put out in the streets that he was an informant, and the government put fake paperwork out. And you know what he's trying to do there? He's trying to sow the seed. See, they do this. They did it to him. They did it to me too. You believe that? That's what this corrupt government does. That's what he'll say they do. Here's the thing, though. We've all seen them. And again, we don't care what you say. The whole legal strategy thing, that's cool and all, but it's not true. We know that. We know that you can't cooperate and sit down with the government. We know that is a blatant violation of the government or the omerta oath that you took back in the late 80s. And by the way, for anyone that's curious, what we'll do now is we'll actually try to get that paperwork and we'll put it on the screen and we'll prove that there is paperwork. Not that we need to do that again, but it's out there. I just don't understand. Like, it's been 20 years. Why don't you just address it and move on? He talks about Witsec Mafia. When is that coming out? 2070? Will that be out this century? He also claims that them putting his paperwork out was a ploy because they had hoped that the mob would just kill him. And he generally assessed that the government was trying to kill him by putting that information out. It's always the government. It's everybody else's fault but John Jr.'s. He never did anything wrong. He's a good little boy. Didn't do anything. Thank you for watching. Hey, Brooklyn, what's up? Thank you for watching. Buke, what's going on? Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Raul Farrow, $20. Thank you for the $20, my friend. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. This was a good one. He claims he's not a whiner and does not hang on crutches. He doesn't use crutches. So he essentially doesn't make excuses. I don't know. There's a lot of things I could say about John Jr. There's one thing that I would not say he wasn't, was that he wasn't a whiner. Because essentially seemed like the entire interview, that's all he did. He sat there, the government hates me, you know, they make stuff up, they hurt people. And again, this is the monotonous nonsense of this. Like the mafia doesn't. What would John Favara think about that statement? Or William Ciccone, or the many people that were killed because they didn't get down with the pal Sammy Guarano, who were all affiliated with the Gambino crime family. But I just don't understand the continued hypocrisy of dancing around and talking about informants, yet you won't talk about the fact that you're an informant. It's so odd. It is really bizarre. And it's almost like this is something we don't remember. We just forget about. Guys, it's so fucking simple to understand. It almost makes you sick to try to understand why they don't understand it. And you have a cheering section. He's so great. He's a hero. Listen, no one ever will argue that John Jr. is not a good father. He seems like a great family man. And in the end, nobody actually cares about cooperation, especially me. But the same people that will tell you, we hate rats and we push back, they all love John Jr. It is the most hypocritical nonsense you'll ever hear. It's an insane thought. And guess what? They don't like people like me because we don't sit there and drink the Kool-Aid and we don't kiss up to people. Remember, he also said, he has Berner. Would you do business with rats? To which Berner said, no, I do not. Yet he does business with John Jr. It's crazy. It's insane. He also said that he was going to sue the government. I think they have a word for that. I think. Just my thought. I think they have a word for that. And what did his father tell him? It's a punk move. Just to sue someone, it was a punk move. And I'm sure he said much worse. And now you're going to tell me? Like, what do you let me ask you, what do you think he would say, John Sr., if Junior sets up a meeting, right? This is after the proper session. And he goes in and says, Dad, guess what? I did something really good, legal maneuver. And he starts explaining it to his dad, and his dad starts to realize. What do you think he would do? He would slap the fuck out of him. Seriously. We all know it, right? Just insane. Just insane. I don't understand. I don't. He also claimed at one point, like I said, that the Colombo crime family was named by the government. All right. It was named, though, after Joe Colombo, which, remember, by the way, though, it was changed from the Profaci crime family. And the guy that had the family at the time, Joe Colombo, was so obsessed with himself that he changed the name. It's the Chris Colombo thing. It's not admitting that the mafia exists because for whatever reason, we pretend it doesn't and it was all made up. Conspiracies. Everything is a conspiracy. Nothing actually happened. He also, I thought one of the weirdest parts of the interview was he didn't come out and say it, but he essentially said that he had planned to sue anyone that called him a rat and that it affects his business. Again, I think there's a word for something like that. So remember, rules are for everybody, right? So if John Jr. is not a rat for suing people, no one else can be. But what does that mean exactly? Does that mean I'm going to get a lawsuit in the mail? I'll be waiting for it, John. Will Joey Merlino get one? I'm sure he'll be waiting on it too. Listen, John, instead of the threats, just do it. We'll wait on that. I would love to go to court with you over that. Could you imagine we go into court and the judge says, "What's this matter pertaining to?" Well, Your Honor, and we got that fucking ambulance chaser, Elio Forcina. Okay, and he's trying to argue that they're slandering my client. They're saying he's a rat. Okay, why'd you say that, sir? Well, Your Honor, it's funny you asked me. Well, I have my defense, and this is what it is. In what was it, 1989 or whatever, 88, that individual, according to his own admission on 60 Minutes, was inducted into the Gambino crime family. And guess what? For hundreds of years, they have lived by a code called Omerta. And in that, it says you do not speak to the police under any circumstance. The judge would fucking laugh. Well, is that true? Yeah, it is. Well, then what the fuck are you here for? It's just insane. Like, what are we even, what? Listen, John, you seem like an all right guy. Like, just, you seem to have a good life. I don't know why you say this kind of stuff. It just doesn't seem to make sense to me. That said, I don't know that anybody's going to be particularly worried about that. He also whined about people like me, and that we use his last name for views, which is interesting because I think he does as well. And remember, John, this is the mob genre, right? It's not the baseball genre. And we would never use your name in the baseball genre because you weren't in the baseball genre. You're in, though, the mob genre. And remember, again, we've seen this with a lot of folks in this genre. Victim mentalities. They're always the victim. They're always being picked on. They're always persecuted. Everybody hates them. But John, I think this is the interesting thing. You notice that your brother Peter is never picked on? Why do you think that is? He wasn't in the mafia. Let's pick someone else. I don't know. Someone else is in the mafia, son. They're a doctor. They're not picked on. But John, the thing is, when you commit illegal crimes, generally, government comes after you. It's how it's worked for a long time. I don't get it. All right, let me get my guest in here, see what he has to say about all this. Let me get his email. He changes it a lot. And while I do that, let me read a couple of comments here. And we'll continue this talk. Yeah, as I told you guys, he wasn't going to mention Joey Molino. I don't know why people thought he would. John Jr. thinks he's better than Joey. He thinks he's better than people like me. He would never mention me, even though what's interesting is, look at this chat right now. I have 575 people here. That show has 1 million subscribers, and they barely got 1,000. Regardless of what you think about Nadu, I get views, okay? And I am one of the biggest shows in this genre. That's a fact. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. The truth is, we're going to talk about that name. That's just how it goes. You're not special. And if you do stuff like this, look, the truth is, if another thing, like Joey Molino mentioned you, he'd probably be the one person you probably should respond to. But again, he thinks he's better than me and Joey. He looks at us as we're not good enough to speak to him. Though damn well he would never come on here. John Jr. would never interview with someone like me, ever. Neither would anyone in that family. They know. Come on, man. They want the easy thing. And that's fine. That's how they should do it. But let's stop with and let's remember, it's not like Joey Molino told us anything we didn't already know. I mean, we've been banging this drum for a while. Timothy Davis, thank you for watching, my friend. I really appreciate it. Thanks for checking out the show. Well, you're here and you're subscribed to our channel, so obviously you did. But thanks, brother. You had to be subscribed to comment. Thanks for checking out the show, Good Times TV. And you obviously felt like I was credible enough because you're here. So thanks for checking out the show. Michael Blade, what's going on? Let's welcome on our old pal. He's, before I do that, Good Time says, Gene, you'll get a kick out of this. Let me bring Gene on. Hey, Gene, how are you?
What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
Good.
All right, so I want to respond to this before we get to your comments. Good Times TV says, dude, you got caught catfishing a girl, giving her fake pictures. She made a TikTok video about you. You're a sick fuck, probably a blank.
She was sick.
And then you find out, Good Times, it wasn't actually me. We've talked about this. In fact, it was on Barstool when I worked there. We found out who the guy was. The girl herself said, I didn't do it. I don't like girls that young. I'm not interested in girls in college. And by the way, dude, she was in college. So even if it was me, a lot of guys go after girls in college. Not that
Absolutely. Crazy. 20, 21, 22? Yeah, all the time.
Also, if you know me, you know she's not exactly the skin tone that I like, if we're just being honest. Listen, I'm sure Mustache Pete blocked this guy by now. Get him out of here, especially talking stupid like that. Gene, how are you? How's everything going? You just did your interview with Michael. How was that?
That was cool. Mike's a cool guy, man. We had fun with him. He's cool.
Yeah, I guess you guys are now pals again after
we've been pals for like months now.
So I gotta ask you, did you watch the John Jr. interview?
No, I didn't watch it, but I heard about it. Yeah,
you heard about it.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on it? I mean, you've never made it a secret. You're not exactly a fan of that group. I mentioned, John said he's not a whiner. He mentioned that the government's always out to get them,
right.
And he didn't talk about his own paperwork, yet talked a lot about people like yourself who did cooperate.
Right. So, I maybe I said this on the last show I was with you, but his lawyer was me and Johnny's friend, the guy Mike, who passed away. I think Mike died like a year and a half ago. He died young, and he used to come by the podcast with me and Johnny all the time and sit with us in Brooklyn. And he goes, Gene, he goes, I wish I could come out and say it. He goes, I sat in the proffers with him. He goes, but I can't say anything because I'll lose my license. He goes, but yes, of course he cooperated. Of course he sat down. So, everyone knows that John Jr. cooperated. He's been vanished from the neighborhood and from the mob for many years now. And like I said, and I repeat myself, and I say this on every show, the only people that don't think John Jr. is a rat is John Jr. That's the only person that doesn't think John Jr. is a rat. So anyone else doesn't understand that. Everyone else knows he cooperated. So everyone else is just like, or people that don't understand the mafia, like, rappers or other people that like, they don't understand that stuff. But anyone that knows anything knows that he's no good. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, he's talking to a brick wall.
Yeah. And I've always said that everyone's to blame for him. Everyone's to blame but him. He never blames himself for anything. This is a guy who, as I said, Gene, he was a good little boy. He didn't do anything wrong. And he's just being unfairly prosecuted by a corrupt government that only picks people out of a hat they don't like.
Right.
As far as I know, he was in the mafia, right?
He was a boss.
Right.
Listen, wait. He was trying to take credit for the Bonnie and Clyde murders. That's on wiretap. He was trying to take credit for the Bonnie and Clyde murders, okay? Him and Joe Messina were fighting over who's getting credit for the murders. So, like, it's such a joke to me. You know what I'm saying?
Gene, that's a great point by you. And what you're talking about is in, 92 or?
91.
Yeah, 91. Tom and Rosemary Uva were robbing social clubs. And guess what? They hit Skinny Dom twice.
Yes, but the last guy they robbed was Vinny Asaro.
Okay.
They were robbing both. Yes. So they were trying to take credit for John Jr. and Messina were fighting over who's taking credit for it.
And I think, from what I remember, Jr. said these exact words. It was our Skinny Dom that took care of it.
Yes.
So, like,
that was
again.
It's a joke.
It's a joke. Seriously. Also,
it's a joke.
Curtis Lewa just happens to get beat up by people in the Gambino crime family.
Beat up. They shot him. What are you talking about?
Well, they were originally supposed to beat him up. Did they shot him?
Yeah. They shot the shit. Mikey Wise shot the shit out of him with Lenny D'Angelo. I was in a taxi cab.
And what I'm trying to understand is, did they just do that cold cocked on their own? Who told them?
Oh, yeah. They just felt like doing it. He said something bad about John Sr. on a radio show. John Jr. ordered his murder. That's what happened.
Right. And if you remember, at a diner in Queens with Nicky Carrazzo and other people, he sat there and told them what to do.
Yes.
Also, again, John Jr. didn't face 5 trials. John Jr. faced multiple retrials because he was a mistrial.
Yes.
That's not 5 trials.
Do you know why? Do you know why he was getting mistrials?
Tell me.
So he did profits on that whole case. You know that, right? When that trial is when he profited. That's when he did the profits. Was before that trial.
Listen,
you know that.
I've never said it out loud, but the truth is, and I'll ask anyone. John Gotti Sr. was the most hated man in America by the feds, right?
Yes.
This was before terrorism and all that stuff. So he was public enemy #1 in America. Right. You actually mean to tell me they allowed his son, who is the de facto head of the Gambino crime family, to meet him and sit down and talk without any sort of
agreements? I know everyone knew that, but listen, you gotta understand, he gets a lot of leeway because he's John Sr.'s son, so they let a lot of things just go. Like, you know, that's what happened. His father was so loved and respected by the organized crime that they just let him slide. That's really what it was, bro. Honestly.
Right. And also,
they sued me. They sued me for calling them rats and other things. That was in there. That was in there as well, that I called him a rat.
That was another comedy, man. I talked about that. He discussed essentially that he was going to file lawsuits against people that call him rats because it's affecting his business. And I made a case, and I said, "Could you imagine me walking into the judge, and he asked, it's that fucking Elio's lawyer."
Do you know what? Judge, do you understand why he's doing this now? Do you understand why he's coming on a podcast? Do you know why he's doing this?
I mean, my guess is he's going to try to push.
No. Joey Merlino outed him. He can't handle it. After Joey Merlino did that to him, his whole career is over now. An actual gangster is going on the internet who's not a rat. Joey Merlino never cooperated. He beat trials. He beat murder things legitimately. He never profited. He's saying, John Jr., you're no good. That's why he's doing this right now. He's losing it.
And this is also why I don't understand why he didn't. And like I said, he thinks he's better than Joey Merlino. He's too good to address Joey or people like myself, or so
he's too scared to address Joey because that's probably why he's a pussy.
Well, he would never do it. Also, I heard another. In fact, Eric Foss said this. He was on with us last time. He made an interesting point that I heard during this interview. He claimed that John Jr. claimed the government made him some sort of promise.
Oh, really? Wow.
Which I don't think they ever do that.
No, they can't do that. It's no such thing.
Do you think they said to Sammy, "Hey, listen, if you cooperate, we promise you're going to get this amount of time"?
It's against the law. It's against I know how it works. They can't say that to you. It's against the law. And listen, they're so strict with that now because they're so strict with the profit things because there's so much stuff that had happened in the past that like literally like it's so like strict with profits now and what goes on in them.
Yeah, and they have to follow a baseline of how to do things. They don't just Also, this was something that was out. John Jr. said he's the most persecuted man in the history of organized crime, and that the government forgave 110 murders of the 100 cooperating witnesses that cooperated against him.
How many murders did he order?
I don't understand. This is what I don't understand. Like, so we think about who do we know that cooperated against John Jr.? A-Light, Mikey Scars, Dom.
Mikey Scars never killed nobody.
That's what I'm saying. Did the DeMeo crew somehow come back from the dead and like did they
these guys consider murder standing down the block or like part like this is I hate to I'm not knocking nobody. I'm just saying like these guys weren't pulling triggers. Half of them that are saying they have murders is because they were a part of it or knew about it. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's not like they're actual killers. They're just guys that are just like they were in on it maybe and they were home sleeping when it happened. You know what I'm saying? Like
it makes it sound good. It
makes it sound better. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, half of them never killed a fucking fly. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like when and look, I know you're pals of his, but like Sammy didn't kill 20 people, right?
Killed 2 people himself. He killed 2 people himself.
Murder conspiracies.
Yeah.
All right. I actually respect John Jr. a lot because he decided to put his family first. Yeah, listen, I don't.
That's fine.
Yes,
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, nobody's saying that, but don't sit here and say you're not a cooperator when you are. Nobody's knocking what he did. I don't care what he did.
And no one would care if John Jr. just came on and was like, you know what, I did what I did, and I don't have any issue with it.
He's living. He's living in fantasy land, bro, because it kills all his credibility, what he has. These celebrities, they don't know half the shit, so they hang out with him and think he's John Jr. He cooperated. He has no respect in the mob. They don't think he's a jerk off. They've been calling him a clown since 2006. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I'm curious what his uncle would think of it.
Probably abuses him.
He's probably not happy with it.
No,
I mean, he probably doesn't agree with it.
Yeah.
Also, remember, as I said before, John Jr. says he's very persecuted, and he's just being unfairly picked on, essentially. They don't go after his brother Peter, because his brother Peter's not in the mob. Like
Peter's way tougher than him. Peter's way tougher than John Jr.
It's not hard to understand. You know, I don't know. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Listen, the guy Burner, he didn't know much about the mob, I don't think. So I think he was just trying to have an interesting conversation. And listen, if John Jr. is talking about stuff, like, he is an interesting guy, but some of this, like, not wanting to just admit to what you are, what you
and never will. He never will.
Yeah, I think that's a problem.
He never will. And the government can't leak fake 302s. That's against the law. There's no such thing as that's fake. That's a lie. I heard that. The government would never do that. They're not allowed to do that. It's insane. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's real 302s.
No, that's a deflection of he's trying to make it seem like, well, they did that to me too. And
right.
Too, I didn't actually do. Also, remember, he was talking about the boxing fight that the kid had, the grandson. And listen, that's a great thing. He fought Floyd Mayweather. But let's be honest. I mean, Gene, do you think if the kid's last name wasn't Gotti, do you think he would have got that fight?
Hell no.
Of course not.
When he got 100 feet near the ring, not even near the stadium.
And what was crazy is he blamed according to him, the rappers in the ring were the ones that fought after the fact.
Oh, really?
Just, going to blame other people. Oh. It's never his fault. It's never their fault. They're just unfairly picked on.
Well, I could tell you one thing. John Jr. has been labeled no good since I started off in organized crime by Vinny. All these guys used to call him a rat. He's a known rat. Everyone calls him a rat. He left from Howard Beach so long ago, moved in exit 700 in Long Island. He never came around again. Like, literally, like, he was doing all that, writing children's books, all the fake crap. He is not recognized in any way, shape, or form. He's known as a cooperator. So he can say whatever he wants, but everybody knows what he did. So it don't matter.
Yeah, and you pretty much clarified everything we thought you would say. And I think all this stuff is – he says he's not a whiner as well.
Right. That's all they do is complain, the whole family.
Well said. What else you got going on, Gene?
I'll be going on No Jumper, and I'll be going on Vlad TV.
Yeah, your work. When's that going to be?
Soon. Very soon.
Very good. So you can check Gene out for that. Vlad TV is a huge platform. Adam 22, big platform. Will you be fucking Adam 22's wife?
No. No.
Would you if she asked?
No.
What if he said you can? It's okay.
No, absolutely not.
Really?
Yes.
Why is that? You don't find it?
No, I'm dating somebody. I wouldn't do that.
Oh, are you? Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Back with your ex, huh?
No, hell no. No.
New girl.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Gene would not have sex with Adam's 22's wife, even if he asked.
Right.
What if you weren't dating someone?
I still would feel very uncomfortable with that.
What if he wasn't watching? He was just okay.
Nah, I just can't. The whole situation's just crazy. No, definitely not.
All right. Well, Gene, listen, good seeing you. And I pretty much thought this is what you would say. And I wouldn't waste much of your time on this. It was pretty.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe.
See you, Gene.
Later, buddy.
Thank you to Gene for coming on and offering his opinion and kind of what I thought he would say. And I think he obviously knows the situation pretty well. I mean, he lived in that neighborhood. Neil Grignon, why would he interview you? You never met the guy. You weren't in the life he was. Just because you're popular in the genre doesn't mean you're popular everywhere. Man, it must really bother you that I'm so popular. And you are a fan as well. Thank you for the sub, my man. He should interview with me because I am one of the biggest channels in this genre. That's why. And I'm not going to sit there and ask him lowball questions like the interviewer did today. That's why, Neil. But hey, thanks for being a fanboy and subscribing, bro. It means a lot. Rob Jean says, great show, but people see what they want to see. That's well said, dude. You're right about that. By the way, 735 people in here. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy what we're doing, please hit that like button. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe. And if you'd like to support our channel, please hit that super chat icon in the bottom right of the chat box. Notice how Junior dropped Bonciano's name, segue to the supposed okay to retire from the leg. Oh, yeah, right. That's a good point. I forgot about that. That's good call. He didn't drop anyone else's name, really. Yeah, that you mentioned that, and I heard that as well. It didn't make sense to me. It didn't make any sense to, I think, anybody. Listen, all in all, there will be a lot of people that will watch this interview. It'll be so great because he interviewed John Jr. And listen, very interesting. But I mean, some of this stuff was pretty wild. Mr. Reddy says, "I'll F you up, Gene Borello." Rat. I don't know that you would, but all right, fair enough. Thanks for living in fantasy land. Nagone, what's up? By the way, I missed a couple of super chats. Let me get to them. Do I follow current court cases? Yes, I don't follow the Young Thug case. I've done stuff on the co-ed killer case. Do I think he'll get off? Yes. I've said before I think he gets off. There's very little evidence against him. And we'll talk about that closer to when the trial happens. Craig Tracy, $10 Canadian. Missed a few of your shows. The best as always. Thank you, Craig Tracy. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you for checking out the show tonight. Means a lot. Raul Ferro, $20. It's my daughter's birthday. She's a big fan. Would you mind giving her a shout? Her name is Caitlin. Sure. Shout out to Caitlin. Happy birthday. Appreciate it. Thank you for showing love, Raul Ferro. You're a good man. Thank you for all the kind words. Beck, hypocritical rat. Who are you talking about exactly? Got to be a little bit more specific. Gene, the government can do whatever it wants. Stop it. Well, they can, but I mean, do you really think that's what they did? Do you really think they put 302s out there and they only put 5 out and they did it after the fact in 2005? What sense would that make? Wouldn't they have done it like 2000? Yeah, it doesn't make much sense. Gino Stinelli, you always have a lot to say about Gene, but, you know, I don't ever see you doing much about it. You seem to have a lot of tough talk always. And also, we dropped a link a few times and you never came on. Weird. Funny how that works. Yeah, I'll be honest. I feel like I know a lot about the mob. I've never heard of that. I've never heard that ever. What's up, Scott Dunn? How are you? Same to you, my man. A lot of crazy comments here, man. How would you know? Listen, let him date who he wants. Not for nothing, Anton. We'd love to see what your girlfriend looks like. Always a lot of people got a lot to say, man, on the internet, man. Always funny. I'll tell you right now, I don't believe he's dating an escort. I'll tell you that. What's up, UFO Nation? He dropped Bobby Cabert as well. Yes, he did. That was a pretty interesting story. What's up, Mike DiLeonardo Jr.? How's it going, brother? Hope all is well. I'm kind of just sifting through these comments. Oh, yeah, I would never. She's disgusting to me. I mean, that woman, yuck. Z Lions, did you see Mrs. Gotti going wild in the comments during the interview? Unfortunately, we can't miss her, unfortunately. But, listen, I think a lot of them folks have dug their own holes, and they're going to just have to deal with the consequences that come from them. I don't get it, but hey, it's their life, not mine. But yeah, I think all in all, it was a bizarre interview. Interesting, definitely, for sure. Bizarre, yes, definitely. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of glazing from certain people on here. Gino, you seem way too upset about this. Like, I don't know why you care so much. Like, God. What's up, Laz? What's going on, brother? How much would I pay to interview John Jr.? Probably not that much. I don't know that I pay him anything. I've only paid one person ever, and I saw a need in it. But I guess I would entertain it. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about, Carmine S. I've never heard that, so I'm not sure. I'd have to look into it. I don't believe Frank Fabiano did that. So I would maybe watch that. I've never heard about that. Lucky Bang Bang, it's Bagel? I have no idea what you're talking about, dude. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I feel like I've gotten my point across here on this show. We kind of said what we needed to say, and I think all in all, it was a bizarre interview, nonetheless. But hey, it'll get plenty of views. It'll do the job, and I think as far as we know, that'll be the only one until I guess some kind of show comes out that they're going to do, maybe. So that'll be interesting. Maybe we'll get more information. But I believe this is the only one they're going to do. So unless they come up with a podcast or something, that's that. I never read your comments. I didn't see what you said. Yeah, but again, Scott K, it's his friend. It was not going to ever be. I don't know why anyone would expect it to be any different. They're friends. He's not going to put him into a bad position. Listen, I get you. I get what you're saying. And these are the same people that will belittle me because I don't ask the tough questions. Yeah, I hear you, but I mean, they're friends. I didn't go into this. I told you guys the other night, it's not going to be this. You're not going to hear about the 302. You're not going to hear about Joey Molino. You're not going to hear. You're not going to hear anything. That's just not ever going to happen with this stuff. These guys, they want, just free flowing interviews where they can talk. I mean, there were times where, John talked for like 5 minutes straight. That's what they want to happen. Frank O'Reilly, what's going on, man? How are you? He says, how do I send a super chat? You just click the $ in the bottom of the chat. Same to you. Same to you. Well, a lot going on. Man. A lot going on. Yeah, I definitely think he was probably upset by it. And that could have been the reason. I don't believe that was the reason. I had kind of heard that he was going to come out and do something for a while. But maybe. Junior's a pretty smart guy. I'll give him that. Yeah, he definitely is. I mean, I've always found him to be pretty intelligent. Delusional, a little. But a lot of people are. Nola says, is Junior a RAT? He definitely sat down with the government, for sure. All right, guys, I am out of here. I hope all of you enjoy your night. I wanted to keep this to around an hour. I hope all of you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. I will have a new video out on Saturday. And as I said, I'm going to Las Vegas the the week of the 21st. Or not the week of the 21st, the week of the 26th. I'll be there. So I'm not going the whole week, but I'll definitely still have content coming out. Yeah, it'll be fun. So I'm looking forward to getting away for a couple of days. I hope all of you have a great night. I hope you enjoy your week, and we'll see you next time here on the Sit Down.